Pickle says he recognizes the handwriting. It's yours. They compare the notes and determine that they're both written on the same kind of paper in the same handwriting. They conclude that this is an obvious setup. You decide to put aside your differences for exactly as long as it takes to make him pay. You see the face of your enemy. It is your own. Name's Peck and Scofflaw. These here are my buddies, Pernicious Innovator and Angry Delinquent. Pleased to meet ya. Scofflaw says, it has been real nice talking with you boys, but he's got important crime type stuff to get to, so he's gonna have to cut this encounter short. One coughs and sputters. What the hell just happened, he asks. Another looks around at his surroundings. He asks, where are we? The third grunts and asks, how do we get back? You are now hysterical dame. How about you retrieve your fist from some smart Alec's face? You haven't finished escaping yet. Your first escape attempt was a failure. At least you had the good sense to go to a phone first to alert Sleuth to your plight, but you were caught and recaptured again by that horrible AD clone before you could even tell him who kidnapped you. After that, they locked you in a different room and actually tied you up this time. You've just escaped the ropes, but it took you all night to do so. Now you gotta find a way out of this room. Not a bad idea. Rope is sort of unwieldy as a weapon, but it might do in a pinch. Or you might need it for other things. Rope is just handy overall. You spare a moment to glare at the chair. You were stuck tied up in that chair all night, and it was not comfortable. You wish you knew. She got kidnapped at the same time you did, but you haven't seen her since then. They must be keeping her in a different room. You hope she's okay. Maybe if you get all the blood rushing to your head, you'll think up a plan to get out of here. It's a good thing no one's around to see this embarrassing display. Okay, the handstand was a dumb idea. You topple over and have an elaborate fantasy about Sleuth rescuing you and being really dashing and charming. You can tell you're dreaming because Sleuth is pretty much never that competent. The boxes are both full of packing peanuts. There's nothing else. Just packing peanuts. There are no windows. There is a door, and it is locked. Here goes nothing. Hiya! Ow, 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 stupid! That accomplished nothing, and now your foot hurts. Maybe you should just focus on trying to find a way to pick the lock. Earlier, you had used the hairpin, but when you got caught, they took it away from you and searched you to make sure you didn't have any more. That's fine. You've got something else in mind. You remove the light bulb from its fitting. You smash the bulb, remove the filament, and straighten it out as best as you can. Ta-da! Instant lockpick. The room is now pitch black, but it's small and not hard to find your way back to the door. It takes a while, seeing as how light bulb filaments aren't the best lockpicks in the world, but you finally unlock the door. You open the door just a bit, looking to make sure your captors are nowhere nearby. Looks like the coast is clear. You are now Problem Sleuth. Holy mother of GPI, do you have a headache? You tell the sun to fuck right off. Hold on, where the hell are you? You put on Slick's hat and pretend that you're an ill-tempered mob boss with bad fashion sense. Except you don't have to pretend that, since you already are. Except it's not really you, but it's kind of you, and your head hurts too much for this shit. This hat reeks of sweat and licorice. You guess that not only does Slick never shower, but he also never cleans his hat. You consider stealing the licorice Scotty dogs he keeps in there, but you can't bring yourself to do it. A real man never steals another man's candy. Just isn't right. Well, you're mostly cursing at the sun for being so damn bright. Surprisingly, the noise does not wake Slick. He must be used to sleeping through louder cursing than yours. You would, but it's only you and Slick here. When Innovator teleported you or whatever, he must have split up your group as well. Probably to slow you down. You fail to resist the urge. You have a hard time initiating constructive conversation because he's too busy yelling at you for kicking him. Eventually he asks where you two are, and you shrug and say it looks like elf country. He rolls his eyes. Great. You ask him about what happened last night. Those guys used shadow magic, so maybe they're using magic to impersonate you? Slick says that's not possible, and it's probably just the usual weird shit that follows you around. Maybe you went and spawned some evil twins the same way you imagined up those Danes of yours. You say no, because then Ace's twin wouldn't look so shadowy. The guy's got a shit imagination. Slick says he doesn't know what to tell you then. He suggests a course of action. Stop yakking and start figuring out how to get back to the city. How about not? Instead, you stare at a landmark very close to the sun. You decide to head towards the Cathedral of Synthetic Ascension. Slick says, hell no, he ain't climbing that. You say with any luck, you'll run into Pickle on the way, and you won't have to. You cannot be Pickle Inspector because Pickle Inspector is too hungover. You are now Diamond's Droog. You make a mental note. There is one thing more unpleasant than shadow magic teleports, and that is forced shadow magic teleports. You slept in your suit. In the grass. Ugh, grass stains. These shadow sleuths are going to pay for that. You cannot see the skull thing, as it is an abstraction meant to represent Pickle Inspector's poor physical condition. You can, however, see Pickle Inspector, being as pathetic as he always is. Cool your jets there, buddy. What's the hurry? Instead, you deploy your Brawlzaleum. You step inside for a quick shower and change into a clean suit. Can't go bust some heads if you don't look presentable, after all. Never. You are not letting him touch any of your clothes, and you certainly aren't touching any of his. In fact, if you had any say in the matter, you wouldn't be within 5 miles of this slob. He stinks of whiskey and despair. You call that adorable? A grown man who is unable to dress himself correctly? Where you come from, that's just sad. You do something along those lines. Pickle Inspector wakes, tells you to stop, calls you rude, then gives you a short lecture on manners. Once he's done with that, he notices his surroundings and asks where you are. You say it looks like the Weasel Kingdom. Pickle says, oh, good. You tell him that it is not good because you've been separated from your respective teams and you're stuck in the fucking Weasel Wilderness when you need to be in your city, stopping his evil twin from taking over the damn place. He says, oh. He is clearly too hungover to be capable of brain function. You grab a bottle of bourbon from your Brawlzaleum and hand it to him. He chugs some down, and soon he's awake enough to not be completely useless. No way in hell. You notice the Cathedral of Synthetic Ascension in the distance. With any luck, the rest of your crew will have the sense to head there. And if not, you guess you'll just have to return to the city on your own. You are now Club's Deuce. Gosh, that last night was kind of confusing. There were the sleuths, and then more sleuths, except the other sleuths were kind of douchebags. And now you can't find Slick or Droog anywhere. This is the best idea you've ever had. Boxcars wakes up and yells at you. No regrets. Boxcars tells you that it's lucky to rub a bald guy's head. Now you have all the luck. You have all the best ideas. Ace wakes up and starts cursing at you, but you can't take him seriously because his bald spot is so shiny in the sun. You snatch Ace's hat away before he can grab it and put it on top of your hat. You feel really fancy this way. Twice the hats is twice as fancy. You're pretty sure that's science. Ace takes his hat back and yells at you a lot. Then Boxcars comes over and yells at Ace for yelling at you. You don't have much choice in the matter, do you? This is boring. They won't stop arguing. You're not even sure what they're yelling about anymore. You know there's something important you're supposed to remember, isn't there? What was it? Oh! Slick and Droog! You have to find them! You're not sure if you have anything big enough to be seen from far away. Especially with all these trees in the way. Stupid forest. Now, maybe if you set the forest on fire. Boxcars and Ace notice you playing with your matches and stop arguing. Boxcars asks you, what's up? You tell him your plan. He tells you that maybe that isn't such a good idea. Boxcars points to the big tower thingy in the distance. You can see it from anywhere, he says. You can climb it and set something off there, and the others will come running. Don't nothing gotta burn. That doesn't sound as fun, but you figure you'll go along with it anyway. You are Hysterical Dame, and you are sick of this place! There are so many doors, and every time you check one, you risk walking in on one of your kidnappers, but you have to check them because behind one of them is your best friend, Nervous Broad. And stairs! Do not even get you started on the stairs! Why are there so many stairs here? This is ridiculous. Well, of course you find him attractive. He looks almost exactly like your boyfriend. You'd be lying if you said you didn't think he was hot. You mean, he's got that perfect hair, boyish good looks, and as far as you can tell, he's got the same pulchritude rating, so he's charming as hell. But, and this part is important, he is also a huge douchebag. And you are going to kick him in the balls next chance you get. You're working on it. You open both of these doors only to find that they are empty rooms. There sure are a lot of empty rooms in this place. And you can't find any windows either. Where the hell are you anyway? You guess it doesn't hurt to try, but you don't see how this helps. You follow the spooky shadow magic smell to 3 doors. The first is, as the sign says, Scofflaw's room. No way you're going in there. Not without weapons in any case. That guy is pretty quick with the purple flames. The door next to it doesn't have a sign. It just has an indentation roughly the size of a fist. You're going to assume that's Delinquent's room. The last one is, obviously, Innovator's room. Huh? As you get nearer, you hear voices inside the room. One of them sounds like, Broad! You rush in, damn the consequences. You'll save her! Oh. Well, shit. Innovator asks if you would like any tea. You are Spade Slick and you are so done with this. Walking is bullshit. This is what cars and vans and shit were invented for. Look at you, Spade Slick, Mobster extraordinaire, walking around the goddamn countryside? Fuck this shit. And fuck your traveling partner. Sleuth has done nothing but talk, talk, talk the entire time. Doesn't the guy know how to shut up? Jesus fuck, the minute you find the rest of the crew, you're gonna stab this asshole in the throat. Sleuth points to a house nearby. He asks if Miss Prissy Slick Prissy Pants needs to stop to rest. Scratch that. If he doesn't cut this out, you'll just stab him now and go the rest of this trip alone. Loot would be nice. At this point, though, you'd much rather just stab someone and then frame Sleuth for it. Oh, damn, the elf police are already here, taking statements from some dame. Looks like someone robbed the joint before you could. Telling from the paintings, this must be the home of the imaginary realm's most famous painter, Miss Paint. You've seen her work around before. You've stolen one or two of them. You're not much of an art person, but you know they're worth a lot of money. Huh. No one ever told you she was such a looker. Hitting on a crying dame when she's at her most vulnerable? Hell yeah, you are all over that. Nobody's slicker than you. That's why they call you Slick, after all. She seems baffled by your sudden appearance in her home. Sleuth starts talking with the police, and she seems to become more comfortable with your presence. She asks if the two of you are detectives. You don't tell her you're not a detective. She's glad to have two hard-boiled looking fellows willing to help with the case. You hate pretending to be a lawman, but you figure you can keep up the charade for a little while. Just until she gets to like you. That's how wooing dames works, ain't it? You tell the elf police that they better give you some answers or else. They seem unimpressed by your show of bravado and explain that a man in black broke into the house and stole one of Miss Payne's prized paintings. He apparently escaped in the direction of the Cathedral of Synthetic Ascension. That's convenient, you say, seeing as how you were heading there anyway. Sleuth shoots you a knowing glance and asks, "What's got you feeling so helpful all of a sudden?" More like abscond into your bedroom, right? No, Hearts would say sunset, and he's the one who knows about all this romance shit. It's a real good thing he ain't here now, or else he'd be screaming at you to kiss that dame right now. Sleuth notices you spacing out and starts snickering like an idiot. Not quite. You gotta get Chuckles out of here before he ruins your chances with this classy dame. You shove him out the door, telling Paint that you'll find her painting, don't even worry. She thanks you and wishes you luck as you leave. Once you're outside, Sleuth's chuckles devolve into uproarious laughter. He starts bitching and asks why you did that. You say because he was getting in the way of you putting the charms on that dame. He says, that was your idea of being charming? You were a total creep. You say, well, fuck you. He asks, what was your pulchritude stat again? You say, pulchritude's for sissies, fuck that shit. He asks if you want any pointers. You say no, now let's go before that dumbass thief gets away. You arrive at the Cathedral of Synthetic Ascension. It doesn't look like your crew are here yet. You hope they show up soon. You guess you'll leave a note or something on the door if they don't show up before you leave to give Paint her painting back. Without wasting time, you and Sleuth enter the cathedral. It's pitch black in here. Sleuth wonders why none of the candles are lit. A voice from further inside offers to get the lights for you. All at once, the candles and lanterns alight with purple flame. Propped up on the altar is Miss Payne's painting. In front of it, however, is Peccant Scofflaw. He smiles and says it's awful nice to see you two. You got some catching up to do.